Introduce yourself, ladies.
Good morning, I'm Jamie, and we're going to be painting from this photo actually. So the photo of the eagle, and then we're going to wrap a banner around it. So I'll take you guys step by step through how to do that. And I'm going to start, actually I'm just going to freehand this, and I'll start kind of with basic shapes and show you how to draw this freehand. He's not too hard. The other thing you could do too is there's some apps in your phone that you can download that are projection. So you can put the photo in your phone and get a projection app, and then it'll project on his USA on it. So if I put his head that high, I don't have any room for my banner, so I'm actually going to move it up a little bit. I think I'll do his head more up here. Okay, so I've got my circle. I've got just a basic part of my beak. I'm not too worried about it right now. And then I like to use kind of different color markers when I'm mapping stuff out, just so that I can tell what I'm doing. So a banner will look like this. Think of a piece of paper kind of wrapping around. And I want to show the ends of the paper as well. Okay, you can also look up on your phone or look up on your computer. A lot of times too, I can see things in my head, but sometimes I just look up, I'm looking at banner images, and like you can look these up on your computer too, just to get different ideas that might not be in my head. And it helps to kind of draw them out. Like I really like this one, and that's not what I was picturing. So I'm just gonna draw it out and see if I can get that to play with my ego a little bit. Working it out on scratch paper first. So if I do my bird here, and I was just walking these out with basic shapes because it doesn't matter, and then wrap this around him. So you've got this triangle here. If you kind of just come up and wrap around him like that, like with the letter S, then you can fill in the rest with the rest is pretty easy. So I think I'll do something like that. And then the only other thing that I need to think about is what do I do with the bottom, because I don't want it to look like his body got cut off. So if this is then I have to work with the shape of the backpack here. Like his body could come through here, like that, but then I'll see the tail, but I don't have room for it if I make his head this big, and I do want to make his head big. So I'm going to come up here and kind of use this background space, like he's really in this, and I'll put the end of the banner up here more by his head. And so if you put your marker or your pencil on the angles of like his neck, the top of his head, that will help you with your drawing. So I'm gonna put my pen back there, find the angles, and I'm gonna go ahead and draw his beak first. And then I'm gonna figure out how far back his head goes. Okay, so I've got one beak. There's one beak, if I measure this, there's one beak to the back. So I'm gonna go, so mine's in about the right place. And then it's about 1.5 beaks to the bottom of him, to where the white part starts going. So his eye is about that big. So I'm gonna put that right above, right here. Like I said, when you start drawing, if you're drawing and it's something needs to be changed or moved, just get a different color. You don't even need to erase it. In fact, it's probably better if you don't erase it, because then you'll end up doing the same thing again. Okay, so here's his eyeball. Here is his eye placement. I'm gonna start to block out the rest of his head. Make this wide enough. So it's about one eye thick. So I actually need to bring it up a little bit more. Okay, so that's my placement. I am going to take another color and outlining so you can see where the actual banner is. So it's going to come around the bird like this, and off, and then come around him to the surface. Or if you have a friend that draws, have them draw it for you. Okay, so I would say the paint usually takes about 2 or 3 coats. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get white. I paint like everything blue or everything white, and everything's already white, so try to use color. And this is like a primer, so it really doesn't matter what color you use. I just have these colors already out. And I'm trying to get a coat of paint. My real goal is just to get a coat of paint on the plastic, so I can start building it up. Don't be afraid to do that. Sometimes we get so attached to like the end product, and it's a lot easier to fix this when it's in these beginning stages than when it's like the composition's not going to change. My painting's going to get better, but the composition's not going to change. So you want to make sure that it is the way you want it before you start doing detail. And I'm going to put it right next to the bird, and then I'm going to take my brush, just going to do this a lot. Wipe it off on a piece of paper, on an old towel, on a paper towel, and just use the brush as a blending tool. And it's this light blue's wet and the dark blue's wet, and I'm literally just coming in here and a lot of white and start here in the center. And I'm basically going to do what I just did at the top. Go back. It's a little bit darker. But not as dark as my background, but I won't be able to tell what the background is in that banner. So I'm not using a photo for this, so I have to kind of use my knowledge of light sources. If the light source is kind of hitting from the front, then the shadows are going to be cast from whatever is on top of something else. So I know he's on top of this, so that's why it's darker, like around the bird. And I'm just kind of almost going on top of the bird because I can paint him on top of that later. And what we're looking for first are kind of where the dark areas are. So I'm looking in here, and you're painting everything like feathers. So if you know anything about like different art styles, there's a style of art called Impressionism, and that is like Van Gogh, Monet, and they're letting colors mix on the canvas, and they're painting with brushstrokes. So just think of painting this a lot with brushstrokes because you want to ultimately have a texture of feathers on there. Okay, and now that I have kind of his head blocked out, I do want to come on this area and work down here now. And I don't have a super dark brown on my brown. So I've been painting for all my life. I paint every single day. I work as a art teacher, professor, and then I also paint commission stuff. So anything that, like, I'm painting for these Airbnb right now, doing murals at different businesses and schools. So the idea that artists cannot survive on art alone is not true. You do have to be a little bit of an entrepreneur, not a little bit, a lot of an entrepreneur and salesman to promote your stuff and get it out there. And but it is a really fun practice. And I love teaching because as I'm kind of just going around, I go to LA a lot. I work up in LA, my kids live up in LA. And I'll go to all the museums and art galleries and stuff up there. And that's so fun to bring back to schools and teach students about what's happening in our world. Feather shapes, it's gonna look a lot different than a marker because it's showing all of the colors underneath, like that original yellow that I put. It's just moving the wet paint. So if it's too dry, just paint. And then use the back of your brush and move it. Like I said, it works really well when it's brush stroke here. You can see it with the tan. I'm gonna keep that going. That's something that you like, and I'm gonna start to do that with marker here on this. Then, you can leave it like this, but if you want to start to pull things out, I'll show you how to do it. I love doing feathers, it's one of my favorite things. But it just means like really looking at each shape, or each feather has a shape. So this kind of elongated oval with a point, and then what makes it so cool is the really, really darks underneath the eye and the round feathers that makes that white really pop. So I always look through images to see kind of the aesthetic that I want. We create for each other, and it's a real benefit to like look through things and keep learning. You'll get your own style too. I definitely have my own style, but I'm always kind of challenging that style a little bit to see just if I can refine it, if I can make it better, different. Also, when you're doing something from reality, so an eagle is a real thing, it's really helpful to look at lots of pictures of the eagle so that you understand that, the consistencies of his beak, the shape of his beak, the consistency of the white areas, kind of how those are toned. You can even tell in graphic images that there's, always going to be a shadow from the beak underneath the neck area. The eye part is always going to be shadowed because it kind of sinks underneath the feathers that are on somebody's eye. So things like that just make your drawing better by just scrolling and going through lots of different images of what the pictures are. Okay, I'm gonna go back here to this. Everything around him is feathers. So when you start to come into the edges, just make kind of uneven lines, just remembering that these are all feathers. I think the key is just make them all different. Don't get in a pattern of making them the same. Some of the feathers. tiny bits of the yellow. And what this does is it helps your eye move around. So I want my eye to move around the piece. So even though this is all dark down here, I'm just gonna put some highlights in the bottom of the feathers. So that's really helpful is take a picture of your image and look at it through your phone. Because when you look at your phone, you're gonna look at it at a distance, and it's always really good, especially like we've been working for almost 2 hours now. It's really good to get away from your work so that you're not always seeing it up close. Because when people look at this, they're gonna be looking at it from pretty far away. So that you can see what you're dealing with, take a picture and look at it in your phone. So I've got 4 on there. 5. And it's also really important that things go behind and things go off. All right, now I'm gonna see if I have a little bit bigger weight marker. I was just gonna tell you, and I didn't do it, don't push down on the marker on your artwork because it will do that. If it does it, just spread it around. I go back and remake that blue. Okay, so when I dry those, I get a second coat on. While I'm waiting for them to dry, I'm going to think about this. All right, so I'm going to let the tops of my letters follow the top and the bottom of my letter follow the bottom. And the sides of my letters would kind of follow the sides. So the sides are going like this, but I can't see them, so I don't have to worry about too much. I'm going to block it out with white, and I'm just trying to think of my font that I want. I'm going to wipe that. And try again. So letters very seldom work out the first time. So a good tip to do is you can put the M over here and the F over here. All right, so there's my letters. I'm going to go back to my stars. Where the shadows go.
To make it more 3D effect.
Mm-hmm. Really nothing on that, and there's nothing on that. So again, it's anything that's on top of something else, because the light's coming from here, is going to cast a shadow. Okay, and now I just need to go back into my stars and make them whiter. So we need that second layer.
Just to repeat, right?
Mm-hmm. Finish up the banner here. So I'm just in the background now with the red paint marker. Just gonna do a couple stripes. Just remember that you don't want anything to be still and straight. So everything on here is moving, just like we were talking about the words. So if you don't have to do these red stripes, but if you want to, it's just I'm trying to add some other colors on here that are gonna make the evil pop out even more. Remember, things in odd numbers. So as you're doing this, I'm trying to repeat the design 3 times. And there's a tool that comes with a backpack to like push the pins out. You'll see that all these little crosses, these little letter T's are all kind of plugged up with paint. You can go back with that little tool when you're all done and open those back up. So like right here where this is blue under the red, I think instead of painting that red, I'll just open those back up. We go to the banner. just taking it back and just making sure that things are really popping out. And then I want that